let's talk about how to meal plan correctly, easy, keep it simple. Today I'm gonna give you all my biggest and best tips for how to meal plan your week. I don't meal prep, but I meal plan. So we're gonna walk through how to plan your grocery list. I'll take you shopping and walking you through my best tips and tricks of how to be successful for the week and how to prep well for the week. So step one, first things first, assess what you already have. I go to the grocery store thinking in sections, like, okay, I walk into Trader Joe's, and I go first for the produce. So I get all the fruit that I need and all the veggies that I need. I focus more on fruit because that's what we go through the quickest and that's my favorite source of carbohydrates. So I focus primarily on the fruit, ideally what's in season. Then how I pick out my vegetables are all based on the recipes I plan to cook that week. Now, here's where all of my grocery shopping tips and like where my list actually comes from. It comes from this glorious app. It's called Clear. This isn't an ad or anything. Like, this app is free, but this helps me organize everything so well and keep it really, really simple. It's basically a list making app. You could easily do this in your notes app as well, but I just like the satisfaction of swiping it off. So there you go. So I have one list titled meals. This is a list of my favorite go-to easy weekday meals. For example, a banh mi bowl. I can do that for lunch or dinner. Shrimp tacos, stir fry, burger bowls. The list goes on and on. What I do before I go grocery shopping is I check this list first and I say, okay, one, what am I in the mood for this coming week? And two, what ingredients do I already have in my house that I can make something out of one of these meals? And then each week I choose 3 to 5 of these meals to make for the following week. I kind of stick with 3 per week. I make big quantities of things, so we usually end up having leftovers, or we go out to dinner one night, or we go to my sister's house or a friend's house for dinner. So it ends up really being around 3 or 4. But with that said, I always have a few extra ingredients on hand that I can kind of always make on this list. Like spaghetti and meatballs or spaghetti and meat sauce is always my like backup, you know, in the back of my head, or a simple protein with bone broth rice, like super easy, and some kind of vegetable or even fruit on the side. I always have that in the back of my head if I've already made the 3 meals that I've chosen and we still need more meals for the rest of the week. Also, when I'm selecting which meals I want to make, I like to balance out the proteins. So I base my meals off of what proteins we already have. So I know I have shrimp in the freezer. I know I have ground beef in the freezer, and I have some chicken breasts in the freezer. So knowing that in my head, I'm like, okay, great, that's a good variety. I don't usually pick 3 meals that are all like ground beef. I usually switch up the protein to get a nice variety of what we're gonna eat that week. And it's usually some sort of beef, some sort of chicken dish, and then some sort of seafood dish. We get all of our beef, all of our pork, and the majority of our chicken from Wild Pastures. They're all regenerative farms, grass-fed, grass-finished, amazing quality on American farms, and it's a meat delivery system. So we get that every 6 weeks delivered to us. So when I go to the grocery store, I'm mainly focusing on produce and other items like rice, honey, maple syrup, things like that. You guys can get $20 off Wild Pastures with the link in my bio. It's amazing. I love them. They have incredible quality for their meat products. So once I have my meals selected and I already know what I have in my house, then it makes it so simple for me to just whoop and go to my groceries list. I have a lot of my groceries already written out here. So why I like this app is because I need yogurt. Cool, I just swipe and then it's done. It's crossed off the list and it goes to black instead of in color. It just makes it simple. This system of picking the meals I want, of what I already have in my house, make my grocery list really short, more affordable, and keeps things really, really simple. So for example, this week on my menu, the 3 meals I've chosen is my wild rice soup. The link for that recipe is on my website. Pork chops. This is my grandparents' recipe and it's so easy and so good. And Chipotle bowls with ground beef, like taco bowls. So let's go to the grocery store, Trader Joe's of course, and get our goodies. to make some dinner. This is one of my grandparents' recipes. They're 93 and 94 years old, and they're some of the best cooks that I know. And one of my favorite things about how they cook is they just keep things so simple. My grandma and grandpa both rarely follow a recipe, and every time I have dinner at their house, they make like incredible dishes, and I'm like, what did you do? Like, how did you make this? And they're always like, oh, you know, just a little bit of that, a little bit of this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, give me the actual recipe. So this is a rough estimation of the recipe for their famous pork chops. So you start by dicing an onion, a few carrots, a few celery sticks, and put some butter in a pot. Add the onion, let it cook up a little bit, and add a few cloves of garlic. I love garlic, so I add like 5 to 6 cloves of garlic, but add however many you want. Hi, Jacob. When Jacob and I first got married 8.5 years ago, I could not keep up with the amount of food that this man ate, and so I had to call his mom and be like, how do you feed this maniac man who has a bottomless pit? And she told me always have rice and beans in the house, and my mom always told me to always cook onion and garlic, and it will always keep your man happy. So there you go, a little marriage advice for you. Okay, so once the garlic has cooked a bit, add the other veggies, the celery and the carrots, and then let those cook a bit and prep your pork chops. I just put salt and pepper on either side after you pat them down. The patting down part is really important. And then once they're seasoned, you're going to make a little well within the veggies that are cooking and add them to the bare bottom of the pan. Okay, so you're gonna make a little spot for the pork chops and cook them on either side for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how thick your pork chops are. Next, add about a cup of white rice, then 2 cups of chicken bone broth. You can use beef bone broth if you want, whatever sounds better to you. Add 1 to 2 bay leaves to it, kind of stir it all up, make sure the rice is covered, and then cover the pot and leave for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then add some frozen peas to the mixture, cover again, and those will cook up really, really quick. Then it's all done. So take out the pork chops and then add however much rice with veggies you want to the mix. And there's a really easy, quick weeknight dinner thanks to my grandparents. Bye.